very easy to give advice. So, I'm going to tell you something that's impossible. Keep working all the time. See, do all kinds of plays, whether they're right for you or not right for you, because eventually time and you will catch up with each other, and your basis, which is solid, hold on to that.
So, the actors' rostrum is a thing of the past?
Barbara, why'd you chase them away like that?
I'm tired, Sam.
Well, Maury's my friend.
Well, her too?
Barbara, are you jealous?
I'm not jealous of anything except for the way that she can eat whenever she wants to.
Listen, we didn't come to New York yesterday. You know, lots of girls like Sharon. They're just a little crazy. Shouldn't bother you. Why let a crazy girl bother you at this stage of the game?
Got a letter from your mother today, Sam.
Oh?
I was late to work and the mail came early. It was addressed to you.
Where is it?
I opened it, but I didn't notice it was just to you. It was the usual mother kind of letter. They had pot roast on Sunday. Like a tall girl that your cousin Edgar was engaged to.
Yeah.
The one with his face.
Yeah, Elizabeth Moon.
They got married last week. And it was a lovely wedding. Oh yes, and your father's been pretty sick. And he's getting better, but things aren't so good. So there's no check for $5 in the mail this week. But as soon as she can, she starts sending it again, each week. And she told me, she told you to give me her love. How long has she been sending this money? From the beginning?
No, the interviewing job wasn't going real well. So
Well, how long?
About 6 months ago, Mother sent a check for $5. I didn't ask her to send it. She's been sending it ever since. I still do the interviewing job as early and as late as possible. You know that.
But you didn't stop her from
No, I
sending
didn't
money.
stop her from sending the money.
Well, what is this, Sam? Is it a disease?
Well, so you didn't mean it when you said you wouldn't marry anybody but an actor?
Oh! Let me think about that one. Let me walk out on the terrace of my penthouse apartment and think about that one.
Barbara, I hate this. Don't you see that? Don't you see that I hate coming home every day knowing I haven't come through for you? But there's nothing I can do about it. I can just say I'm sorry and just keep trying. That's all I can do.
But let's go home. I mean, not for my sake, for yours. Don't throw your life away on something that doesn't care whether you live or die.
No, Barbara, this is my life.
But you've tried, Sam. God knows you've tried.
The group isn't dead yet.
But other people have been happy when they've left the group. You're not happy here.
Barbie, the actors roster isn't dead. Okay? They're gonna get enough money, we're gonna pay the rent this month, and maybe they'll start paying us some salaries.
Oh, so you can sit around for the rest of your life over cheap wine and talk about Stanislavski and the group of small artists who are going to mold the pottery of the entertainment.
Barbara, why are you turning on me just now? You're turning on me just when things are at their worst. Is it because that girl is here?
No.
Was it some stupid girl reason like that?
No.
Was it because it made
No, it's because it's not just the two of us anymore. I wasn't sure until today, and I was going to tell you tonight, and then we could celebrate with Marjorie and Alan. I mean, it takes money to even keep from having a baby. And I want to be alive too, Sam. Don't be unhappy. Please.
When?
Not for a long time yet. Be happy, sweetheart. It's a baby. It's like something holy happening to us.
Okay, how long have we got to keep on going on like this?
I could work for a while, I guess. I mean, we need money to get home.
Barbara, you gotta give me another month to get in the play.
Oh, so it'll be 2 years and 7 months.
Barbara, it's all I ask.
Don't you promise?
Yes. It isn't 10 o'clock.
Well, the more sleep you get, the less food you need. Just like extra food takes the place of sleep. Up to a point. At least that's what I keep telling myself. What?
I didn't say anything.
I thought I heard you say something.
I was praying.
What were you praying about? Sam, what were you praying about?
A job.
You know what you had?
What I had?
Both of you. You had a rather simple, relaxed interchange. But little, very little awareness of why the scene happens in the first place. Why does it happen?
This scene happens because the people that just left on my lap
Was that fancy business?
At the door.
at the door. Yeah, did you like that?
Crazy about it.
Thanks. The people that just left at the door.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
You got
real
that
good
very
time.
clear then?
What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Them leaving was my last hope of ever getting a job. In my eyes, she blew it.
What about you?
I have to tell him that I'm pregnant.
That's gonna happen in the scene unless you rewrite it. I'm talking about the beginning.
Well, I've just been trying to get rid of them. I don't like his friends. I don't like whatever's going on that's been going on.
Now, you know what I would be looking for? I would be looking for some intuitive feel on both your parts of what that scene implies to you. Emotion. You see? Isn't it true, Phyllis? You just told me that she wrecked your career.
Yes.
You just told me that you deliberately got rid of his tawdry friends. Most actors don't know how to prepare. They don't. They laugh if you talk about it. If you were playing the scene, the director would have to draw out of you the circumstances which would lead you to a preparation. I don't want that now. I want to see what happens to you instinctively. See, I think from all I see that you have a feel for this profession. It's true you do. And certainly on the level that you did this, which is first conversational reality, it was okay. But
Yeah.
now why was that?
Why you didn't feel it? Why I didn't feel it in here?
Why nothing happened to you? I think your attention is unjust. the conversation that's changed.
Right. I agree with that.
But what would you do, either of you, if you never heard of preparation and you were playing this in a stock company somewhere? What would you act emotionally in this scene? Wouldn't you know that your career is ruined?
Yeah.
That your wife did it to you? Wouldn't you indicate like crazy?
I do a lot of that.
Why don't you do it?
I don't know.
I know. You're afraid you won't be truthful.
If I indicated, I wouldn't have been truthful.
That's right. I'd love to see you indicate. Would you like to indicate that you're heartbroken with tears in your throat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you do that for me? Let just rose this heartbreaking scene.
So, the actor's rostrum is a thing of the past?
Barbara, why did you chase them away like that?
I'm tired, Sam.
Well, Maury is my friend.
Well, her too?
Barbara, are you jealous?
I'm not jealous of anything except for the way that she can eat whenever she
Oh,
wants.
come on. We didn't come to New York yesterday. You've known lots of girls like you, and they're just a little crazy. They shouldn't bother you. Why are you going to let a crazy girl bother you at this stage of the game?
A letter from your mother today, Sam.
Oh?
I was late for work, and the mail came early.
Well, where is it?
It was addressed to you, and I opened it. I didn't know it was just to you. And anyway, it was just the mother kind of letter. They had pot roast on Sunday. Your cousin, the one Edgar, was engaged to.
Yeah, Elizabeth Moon.
Well, they got married last week. It was a lovely wedding. Oh, yes, and your father.
You should be crying, Ray.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, he isn't very well. He's getting better, but things aren't so good. So there's no check, $5 this week. But as soon as she can, she's going to start sending it again each week. And she told you to give me all of her love. How long has she been sending us money?
More tears, more tears.
The interviewing job wasn't going real well.
How long, Sam?
About 6 months ago, Mother sent a check for $5. I didn't ask her for it. She's been sending it ever since. I still do the interviewing job as early and as late as possible. You know that.
Yeah, but you didn't stop her.
No, I didn't stop her from sending it.
What is this, Sam? Is this a disease?
Oh. So you didn't mean it when you said you wouldn't marry anybody but an actor, huh?
Oh, let me think about that one. Just let me walk out on my terrace in my penthouse apartment and think about that one.
Barbara, I hate this. Don't you see? I hate this. I hate coming home every day and knowing that I haven't come through for you. But there's nothing I can do about it. I can just try. I can just try and just say I'm sorry. That's all I can do, Barbara.
Let's go home, then. I mean, not for my sake, but for yours. Don't throw your life away on something that doesn't care.
No,
what
Barbara,
you
this
do.
is my life.
Yeah, you've tried, Sam. You've tried. God knows you've tried.
Barbara, the group isn't dead yet.
Everybody, there are other people that have been happy and left the group. You are not happy here.
Barbara, the actor's rostrum is not dead. They're going to get money, they're going to pay our rent this month, and then they're going to start paying me some salary.
You can sit around for the rest of your life and drink cheap wine and talk about Stanislavski and the small group of actors that...
Barbara, why are you turning on me? You're turning on me just now. You're turning on me just when things are at their worst. Why are you doing that? It's because that girl is here, huh?
No.
Is it some stupid reason like that?
No.
Huh? Is it because
No.
that maybe...
that it's not just the two of us anymore. I didn't know until today. And I was going to tell you tonight. I knew we could celebrate with Marjorie and Alan, but it takes money to even keep from having a baby.
More.
And Sam, I want to be alive too. Don't be happy, please.
When?
Not for a long time yet. And be happy, sweetheart. It's a baby.
Baby. Make something out of that.
Be happy, sweetheart. It's a baby. It's like something holy happening to us.
Holy.
Yes, it's like something holy happening to us.
How long have we got? I mean, to keep going on like this.
But I could work for a while, I guess. We need money to go home.
Barbara, you gotta give me another chance to get in the play.
So it'll be 2 years and 7 months.
Barbara, it's all I ask of you.
Then will you promise?
Yes.
Then let's go back. We're both tired.
Oh, it isn't 10 o'clock yet.
Well, the more sleep you get, the less food you need. It's just like extra food taking the place of sleep.
Oh no. It's gotta be very touchy.
Well, the more sleep you get, the less food you need. It's just like extra food takes the place of sleep. Up to a point, I mean, that's what I keep telling myself. What?
I didn't say anything.
I thought I heard you say something.
I was praying.
What were you praying about? Sam? What were you praying
That was wonderful. And you thought, well, that's the way you use that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if I were an actor, and I had to make the choice between an actor like an act and a truthful conversationalist, I would have no choice. I'd have to pick him because, terrible though it is, he's acting. Then you have to improve it. You see?
Yes.
But can you imagine missing a word like holy or baby? You can't pass over those things. When you did it for me, the conversation reality was nice, although it seemed not to have any sense of the scene. So that your natural instincts didn't work for you, either of you. It's just conversation.
Right.
time, we know feelings to talk about. But what you need is the act. But the truthful act. You know,
Yes.
Yeah. Can we try it?
someday.
Not today.
Words are primarily why the reason you say them is because you want to tell somebody, but primarily because you feel in a certain way. See? Now, for example, Humpty Dumpty, who's Eliza's pet little brother. She adores him. But he did something he wasn't supposed to. He climbed up a wall. And he stumbled. But he fell. And he finished. He's dead. And it just happened. You want to tell them, Liza? Come up here and tell them.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again.
Do it again. No grammar.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put him together again.
Tough. It's tough. It's also over. Now, what is the point of that?
To show that it's not primarily the words, it's primarily the feelings that then motivate you to speak.
Yes, but let me ask you this. There's no doubt that she loved her brother, right? There's no doubt. He's dead.
I know he's dead. He's dead.
There's no doubt that she loved him. She was moved. She's very compassionate in her nature. Right? She could sit there and do nothing except let herself go emotionally. Or she could explain to you why she's so upset. Right? So her character is that she's very compassionate. We get that from her emotion. And that she shares her troubles We get that from the fact that she tells you, well, what makes her the character.
Her inner life.
What position have the words got?
They're secondary.
They take on their meaning from the inner life.
I'd like to shoot the person who came up with the word character, because it's done more harm for acting classes, I think, than anything else in the world, because people come in thinking they're going to be somebody else, and that's the antithesis of great acting. As I said before, great acting starts with yourself. So in our program, the entire first year, we don't even use the word character. We don't bring it up, because until you can be yourself up there, open, vulnerable, in the different imaginary circumstances, what makes you think you can be somebody else?
The meaning comes from text, from the play, right? And it takes on its truth from the emotion. So the truth of the emotion is a product of your interpretation of the text.
There are such degrees of difficulty. When you give me something like Humpty Dumpty, who's my little brother, it's a base, very natural feeling to feel the way you wanted me to feel. Now, the difficult thing is when you get a text that doesn't, that you don't instinctually feel for.
That's where your liking for as ifs comes in. See? Look, you're talking about Humpty Dumpty as if he were your brother.
So you must find those answers in yourself.
Well,
forever, yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about the relationship between an action and an emotion? I mean, a lot of what we've been doing is, for instance,
stand up. Show a little respect. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Did you do what I told you to?
Yes.
Did it do something to you?
Yes.
That's the difference between doing something and what it induces in you emotionally.
So sometimes just by doing something, that induces in you an emotion.
Acting is doing. And meaningful acting is doing under emotional circumstances.
So, like we were talking about this morning, it's really important to fantasize a lot, because you might start out with a lot of fantasies that you think mean something to you because you want them to mean something, but they don't.
Did you ever walk on Fifth Avenue?
Yep.
Did you ever see a dress that you'd give your eye teeth to own and can't?
Yeah.
What that induces in you is emotion, right?
Yeah.
Suppose you saw a woman wearing that dress. What could you do to her?
What could I do to her?
Isn't that all? The jealousy. Isn't that all? Something that's not induced by reality.
Exactly. Imagination.
This is an emotional profession.
In the first year, we learn the independent activity, the what you're doing, the why you're doing it, the when you're doing it, and the where you are. And there's so much emphasis put on that independent activity that I'm wondering, how do we use that?
That concentrates you. It's good for your concentration. It teaches you to get yourself over wholeheartedly to what you have to do. That's what it is primarily.
I thought I heard once you saying something about the independent activity being the key to character acting.
If you are doing something with all of you involved in the doing, that colors everything that you act, that makes you active, right?
Right.
A character, which is just as inner, dictates how what you're going to say and do comes out of you. So a character is inside. It's specific, and so is the independent activity. Character comes from what you're doing, and what you're doing is valid because it's filled by the emotion. The more completely you do it, the more alive it is emotionally.
If you're playing a character, that is it almost like putting a filter over your own behavior? Do you know what I mean? Is it almost as if everything that you receive and everything that you give back is filtered through a particular point of view?
At last I'll know it. See, get up. I'm busy. Introduce me to her.
Sandy, this is Katina.
Not very friendly, right?
No,
Why?
you were occupied with something else.
No. She once turned me down.
Oh.
You see? Stand up.
But why then?
Why you do what you do in a certain way. Introduce me to her.
Sandy, I'd like you to meet Katina.
Was that different? Why? You don't know, but I know. I like her. So what I do in a certain way because of a character reason.
So there's always a reason why you express your feeling differently.
Of course.
Yeah.
And where does it come from?
Imagination.
The character and the way it activizes you. Carrie, see, he got back again into class because his father gave the school money. Do I like him? That's the reason he's here, because of the money. Sit down. Gary. Sit down. Quite different. That's because his father gave the school money.
So you become a different character because of the way you...
I do it differently.
I'm an acting teacher, not a lawyer. I don't think much of corporate law, but I may have to play one. So in that point, I'm going to have to look at the viewpoint of how that person thinks about what they do. But what I will do then is, because corporate law bores me, but to this man, it's the greatest thing in the world, I'll go to myself and say, how do I relate to that? Well, when I teach acting, I feel like I'm on top of the world. So the way he feels about corporate law is the way I feel about this. But I will have to adjust how I do what I do to play that part. And that's really what Sandy said character work was. Character work is really simply how you do what you do.
Let's say I hate people who come in late. I hate them. He's always late. I'm discussing relationship, which has now come into class. I'm discussing relationship. What was I saying? I hate people who come in late. Right. Do it again, Gary. Oh, wait, don't rush. His father is going to air condition the theater. See? Now, I'm talking, and we're talking about character. I get. That's it. Completely different, but completely different relationship that comes from character, which is how you do what you do.
You give us these examples. We don't see the process that you go through to choose. We don't see the choosing process.
If I don't choose, it's instinct.
How about when it's not instinct? How about when your instinct doesn't work?
Then somebody's got to take you. Your instinct. But this is not a high school course. It's a talent. You follow?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to do a cruel thing. I invited her to my party, and she brought you. And you are not white. And I am from the South.
Okay.
South Bronx. Now come to my party and introduce me to him. So,
Hi. How are you? It's good to see you. I'd like you to meet my friend Jose.
Hello. Have a drink.
Thanks.
Have a drink. You can have a drink. Now, that is not calculated. do it the way you see. Believe me, there'll always be somebody to tell you you're wrong.
I really wish that I would have been around when he was on stage. Having worked with him for 14 years, yes, I saw the same thing in that he's a wonderful actor, but I can't imagine how good he must have been actually in a play on stage.
Let me hear this scene done improvisationally.
So the actor's roster was a thing of the past.
Barbara, why'd you chase him away like that?
I'm tired, Sam.
Maury's my friend.
Her too?
You jealous?
No, I'm not jealous of anything.
Okay, we can talk about this. This is coming out of nothing.
Right.
It's not coming out of any preparation.
Right.
Right.
Now, what are the circumstances that precede this scene?
They've just had a party. But we were supposed to be entertaining friends of ours from Ohio. We've moved from Ohio to New York. And instead...
That's not essential.
It's not... Well, we're entertaining his friends instead of mine.
And you threw them out.
Yeah.
Now, you want to be an actor.
Right.
Do you really?
Yes.
Who did she throw out?
Very important friend in the business.
Who have you got left?
Nobody.
So you're alone.
Right.
You've been destroyed.
Devastated.
Who did it to you?
She did.
Who is she?
She's my wife.
So your wife has ruined your career.
Right.
What do you mean, your career? You can live without being an actor.
I don't think I can, no.
You can.
No.
You had one opportunity in life to be happy, to be an actor.
Right.
Who took that opportunity away?
She did.
Who is she?
My wife.
You mean your wife has ruined your life?
Bingo.
You have no more career.
Right.
Who did it?
She did.
Well, the question is, how do you feel from coming from a situation where your career has been ruined by your wife? See, that's the question out of which you've got to have that before we even see you. That's no mere thing to say, and that is, I have been destroyed by the one person who should have come to my rescue.
Right.
You were talking about preparation.
Yeah.
Why did you do it?
Because it wasn't what I expected to happen that night. And
That's a generality.
yeah. Because this is what happens every time.
That's another generality.
Because I don't want him to be an actor.
Is what kind of a life can you?
We have nothing. We have absolutely nothing.
You have nothing.
No.
You're pregnant.
Yeah,
Who pays for the food?
I do.
Who doesn't know what the next supper is coming from?
Me.
You're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Who are his friends to you?
Who are his friends to me? They're my enemies.
They're bums. Have you ever found yourself in a position of being so upset inside that if you could, you'd jump out of the window? Well, very few people have, but acting is imagination.
Yeah.
Now, you have a pretty lousy life, and to get some relief, you insulted his friends. If they're dirty, get them out of your sight. You follow?
Yep.
You ruined him in the morning, but that doesn't count. You're in a hell of a situation, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm stuck.
But
I said I'm stuck.
stuck. So is a corpse. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
So are you stuck. Now before you can open your mouths, you have to have a full preparation. Turn your back on them. And prepare. When you're prepared, turn your back on him.
Okay.
And do the whole text that way.
Okay.
Right now.
Can we prepare right now?
Northeast. Southeast. Joan, it's you. Nothing. You have been reduced to nothing. Go ahead.
So the actor's roster was a thing of the past.
You could never do that. That's no preparation. I'll show you something.
Okay.
Although, Stanislavski will, pardon me, start crying. But I'll tell you when to begin. I don't care what you do to yourself. Pull your hair out. Quietly.
So, the actor's rostrum is a thing of the past.
Barbara, why did you chase him away like that?
I'm tired, Sam.
Maury is my friend.
Oh, well, we're her too.
Oh, are you jealous?
Oh, I'm not jealous of anything except for the way that she can eat whenever she wants to.
Barbara, you didn't come to New York yesterday. You've known lots of girls like Sharon. They're just a little crazy. Why let a crazy girl bother you at this stage of the game?
You got a letter from your mother today, Sam.
Oh?
Yeah, I was late going to work this morning and the mail was early.
Where
It was
is it?
addressed to you.
Where is it?
Well, I opened it, but I didn't notice it was just addressed to you. And anyway, it was just the usual kind of mother letter. You know, they had pot roast on Sunday. That tall girl with the spaces between her teeth that was engaged to your cousin Edgar. You know her?
Elizabeth Moon.
Yeah, well, they got married last Sunday. And it was a lovely wedding. Oh, yes, and your father has been very sick. Oh, but he's better now. But things aren't so good anyway, so there won't be any check for $5 in the mail, as it usually is. But as soon as she can, she'll start sending it again. And anyway, she wants you to give me her love. How long has she been sending us money? How long?
The interviewing job wasn't going real well.
Oh, yeah, how long?
About 6 months ago, Mother sent a check for $5. I didn't ask her for it. She kept sending it, though. And I still do the interviewing job as early and as late as possible. You know that.
What is it, Sam? Is it a disease or something?
Oh, so you didn't mean it when you said you wouldn't marry anyone but an actor, huh?
Oh, let me just think about that one. Let me just go out on the terrace of my penthouse apartment and think about that one.
Barbara, I hate this. Don't you see that?
Oh.
I hate coming home every night knowing I haven't come through for you, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I just have to keep going on.
Let's go home. I mean, why are you throwing your life away on something that doesn't give a damn whether you live
No,
or
this
die?
is my life.
Oh, but you've tried, you see, you've tried. God knows you've tried.
Something will come through with the group soon. I know it will.
But see, others have left the group and they've been okay. Why can't you leave?
They'll get to a point, Barbara, where they can start paying salaries. I know that.
Oh, so you can sit around for the rest of your life and drink cheap wine and talk about Stanislavski and the small group of actors that mold the pottery of the entertainment world.
Barbara, why are you turning on me now? Just when things are at their worst. Is it because of that girl?
No.
Some stupid reason like that?
No.
Was it because of that letter then?
You know what? It's because it just isn't the two of us anymore, Sam. And I didn't find out until today, and anyway, I was going to tell you tonight that we were supposed to celebrate with Marjorie and Alan. And anyway, it takes money to even keep from having a baby, Sam. And I want to be alive, too. And why are you so unhappy, then? Why are you unhappy?
When?
Not for a long time yet.
Come on, be happy, sweetheart. Be happy. I mean, it's like something holy happening to us. A baby.
You gotta give me a few more months to try to get in the play.
Oh, so it'll be 2 years and 7 months you've tried.
No, Barbara, it's all I ask, please.
Then will you promise?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to bed then. We're both kind of tired.
Is it 10 o'clock?
Well, the more sleep you get, the less food you need to eat. Just like extra food takes the place of sleep, you know what I mean? At least that's what I keep telling myself. Did you say something?
No, I didn't say it.
I thought I heard you say something.
No. I was praying.
Praying? What were you praying for? What were you praying for?
That's the same. The same. Now. Okay. Isn't that more expressive? But they're real. condition.
Yeah, I think I understand it better.
You still have blind readings that you remember.
Yeah.
No good. How can you get rid of that?
I don't know.
Very simple.
Don't think.
No. Think if you want to. As long as it doesn't interfere with your act. Work on him.
Stay. Yeah.
Might. Who is he? You feel as much about.
Yeah, that would work.
Now that's the scene. That's the scene about a girl in trouble and a boy in trouble. What did you start to do? Blinds.
Right.
You say, where did you get the habit of those blind readings?
It's a mistaken security. So if you do it once and you think you can do it again the same way. If you say something and it feels right, and somebody says, yeah, I understood that when you said that, so you try to do it again. And you just you got it in your head, you know exactly which little intonations you made, everything. And you can do it again a million times, and every time it's not real because it wasn't the first time. But it's a real bad habit.
It's a dangerous world.
Yeah.
We're talking about preparation.
We're married. She has been away in Hollywood. I'm an out-of-work actor in New York. What else?
We've only been married for 6 months, and I take it I've been away somewhere, I don't know, what would you say? It could be a week, 2 weeks, and he knows that I've been seeing this man that I used to see, and I am coming back to New York because I'm pregnant and I want...
Not by me.
Not by him, by Maury, and I want a divorce.
Talk about your feelings.
My feelings in the scene?
Your feeling for the scene.
Of course, I don't like being put in the situation of having to come back and ask him this.
Well, everything you said so far resolved itself down to one. You don't want to be in this position again. You don't want to come back. You don't want to be pregnant. You don't want to have to pass in any favors. Now those are 3 things.
Except I do want this baby.
You want to take and eat.
That's a, yes. Yeah.
However, that's telling the story. Suppose you despise him and behaves as if you've come back to him.
That
Would change yourself, but you want to be blunt and to the point, but you can't, because, he still would say yes. But what would you do if you were forced to have to apologize for something that you did is wrong?
Like I was, well, I would be lying to myself. I would,
You know, you don't have to put it into words. You just have to have it. Okay.
What do I want from her? I want her to open doors for me. I want her to get me a job.
That's the play.
Okay. So I want her back.
She's come back.
Okay.
Isn't that like feeling you've lost a role?
And then you get it. Yeah.
Preparation. That's what best to do when you're need a crucial favor from somebody whom you hate. But if you antagonize, you won't.
Sam?
Sharon?
I just got in. Hello.
How was Hollywood?
Fine.
She's your girl
Yeah.
who went away,
Yeah.
and she's killing you.
Yeah.
Open the door. And come in. Is that true?
No.
Where are you?
Out to lunch somewhere.
Where should you be?
I should be very involved with her from the moment she comes in the door.
The given circumstance says that you're going to this unless you can get her back.
Okay.
Does that correspond?
No.
Where should you be?
Should be at the end of my rope.
Let me see you get at the end.
Okay.
You got a rope.
No.
It's all emotional. It all comes from you.
Right.
Then we'll see what she does.
Okay.
There. Rope.
You know, the whole lie today is that we're not enough. If we don't buy this, we're no good. If we don't get this car, we don't get the girl. That we need things to be complete. And what Sandy's work does is it teaches you to be really authentic into who you are and step into that and reclaim your power, because we've given it up for all of these years. And when people do that, then they stop being afraid. They stop being afraid of who they are or what their possibilities is or what they should and shouldn't do, because this whole technique is truly about reclaiming and empowering yourself.
Sam?
Sharon! What are you doing here?
I just got in. Hello.
Well, how are you?
Fine.
How was Hollywood?
Okay.
You get a suntan?
Sorta.
I'll try and catch up.
Do they have a studio audience for the radio show?
I have to go over to the Guild to see about a play. I've been looking sort of pasty, so I'll be with you in a minute.
You look fine. I mean, the back of you.
1 minute.
Sam, I have something I want to tell you. I didn't want to write it. I wanted to tell you in person.
Well, what is it?
I want a divorce. Didn't you hear me? I said I want a divorce.
Yes, I heard you. You said you want a divorce. I can't understand why.
I'm in love.
Are you sober?
Yes! Sam, I'm in love.
Being married never seems to have interfered with that before. Why the sudden decision?
Sam, I'm pregnant.
Maury?
Of course it's Maury. My God, what a lousy inference.
Let's not have any high moral tone about the paternity of the child.
Sam, you're mad because your ego's been hurt.
My ego! Don't give me that crap. You marrying him now won't keep him out of the army, even if you are pregnant.
Don't be a bastard. Don't talk that way.
What's the matter? Don't you like the word bastard?
Sam, I am in love for the first time in my life, and maybe the only time. Maybe it's the baby. Maybe I finally got proof I'm a woman. And being in love isn't something I don't deserve.
Straight from the psychiatrist's mouth.
Damn it, it's true.
It's always been Maury, hasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it's always been Maury, and now he wants me.
Wake up, Sharon. You know Maury. You know it moves him around. It's not you he wants. It's his child. The most important, #1 piece of pottery in his life. He wants it, and he wants it so bad he's willing to buy the oven.
My God, you're crazy.
It's the truth, and you
I
know
don't
it.
care why he wants me. He wants me, and that's all that counts.
Oh, this time it's different?
Yes! Yes, it is different. There's a whole new ingredient, and it isn't sex, and it isn't compromise, and it isn't convenience. It's love. I used to think there wasn't such a thing, but now I know I just forgot it. It's like a hope you've given up on until you feel it again. You can understand hope, can't you?
Yes, I can understand hope.
Thank you, Sam. I knew you'd understand.
No divorce.
Sam, don't say that.
No divorce.
Sam, look, I want to work this out. I want to make you understand. I know what you must feel, but...
No divorce!
Anything, Sam, anything I've got to give, just name it, it's yours. There's no ceiling, Sam.
No divorce.
This is my last chance. Sam, please, I beg you, let me out. What is it, money? Hollywood. You want me to open doors. That is the price, isn't it? You learned, didn't you?
I had a good teacher. Oh, let me. Whether you believe it or not, best wishes.
out of nowhere, you hear a voice.
Yeah. Got a hit.
Between the time that you hear call you and you go back to the sunlands is the whole full experience. They only take that long.
Yeah.
Start to go to the door. Keep yourself from telling her to come in. But try to look composed when she does come in. All those little things, if you carry them out, will help you. How long have you been in this city?
I just flew in and came here immediately.
You gave the taxi driver your old address, where you lived together, and you burst into tears. Now there's nothing in the play that signifies that. That's your invention.
Yeah.
See, this is a plea for freedom. Those are the things which will strengthen it emotionally. What you want is your liberty, your happiness, right? He's like the judge.
Whenever I know that they're waiting for me and I have to, and I'm supposed to be out there, I mean, I guess I'm result conscious or I'm watching myself, the emotion doesn't come. But like just now when we broke and I went back there and I tried to prepare, I can get it. Is it a matter of practicing enough time so you can relax? Is that?
No,
What is it?
It's a question of being willing to not let it be as good as you hoped it would be. Of all of the exhibitionistic professions, this is the worst one to follow.
Yeah.
Dancers come next. What does that mean? What is the root of why you want to be an actor? Because you want everybody to hate you.
Nope.
You don't? That's what makes you nervous.
That fear?
Fear of not being accepted.
Sam?
Sharon, what are you doing here?
I just got in. Hello.
Well, how are you?
Fine.
How was Hollywood?
Okay.
Did you get a suntan?
Sort of.
I'll try and catch up.
They have a studio audience for the radio show?
I have to go over to the Guild to see about a play, and I've been looking sort of pasty. So I'll be with you in a minute.
Well, you look fine. I mean, the back of you.
1 minute.
Sam, look, I have something I want to tell you. I didn't want to write it. I wanted to tell you in person.
Well, what is it?
I want a divorce. Well, didn't you hear me? I said I want a divorce.
Yes, I heard you. You said you want a divorce. I can't understand why.
I'm in love.
Are you sober?
Yes. Sam, I'm in love.
Being married never seems to have interfered with that before. Why the sudden decision?
Sam, I'm pregnant.
Maury.
Of course it's Maury. My God, what a lousy inference.
Let's not have any high moral tone about the paternity of the child.
Sam, you're mad because your ego's been...
My ego! Don't give me that crap! You're marrying him now will not keep him out of the army, even if you are pregnant.
Don't be a bastard! Don't talk that way.
What's the matter? Don't you like the word bastard anymore?
Sam, I am in love for the first time in my life. And maybe the only time. Maybe it's the baby. Maybe I finally got proof I'm a woman and being in love isn't something I don't deserve.
Straight from the psychiatrist's mouth.
Damn it, it's true!
It's always been Maury, hasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it's always been Maury, and now he wants me.
Wake up, Sharon. You know Maury, you know what moves him around. It's not you he wants, it's his child. The most important #1 piece of pottery in his life. He wants it, and he wants it so bad he's willing to buy the oven.
My God, you're cruel.
It's the truth, and you
I
know
don't
it.
care why he wants me. He wants me, and that's all that counts.
This time it's different.
Yes. Yes, it is different. There's a whole new ingredient. And it isn't sex, and it isn't compromise, and it isn't convenience. It's love. Yeah, I used to think there wasn't such a thing. But now I know I just forgot it. I hope you've given up on it until you feel it again. You can understand hope, can't you?
Yes, I can understand hope.
Thank you, Sam. I knew you'd understand.
No divorce.
Sam, don't say that.
No divorce.
Sam, look, I want to work this out. I want to make you understand. I know what you must feel, but we'll find a way.
No divorce.
Anything, Sam, anything I've got to give, just name it. It's yours. There's no ceiling, Sam.
No divorce.
This is my last chance. Sam, please. I beg you, let me out. Well, what is it, money? Hollywood. You want me to open doors? That is the price, isn't it? You learned, didn't you?
Had a good teacher. Let me.
Whether you believe it or not, best wishes.
That was good. I like that. That was, it was simple, it was, and it was truthful, it was legitimate, emotionally, you know. What's the matter with you?
I don't know.
All right, get it out of here.
All right.
Hit him, hit him. Hit him.
Hit me. I love to be beat. Thanks.
You know, that is something. There's an interesting problem in this scene. You haven't seen each other in 5 months. Is that right?
Yes.
And
A long time.
I don't care if it's 4 months. And you decided that you still want her. Right?
Yeah.
That's the way you began
Yeah.
the scene.
Yeah.
Where did you get that idea?
Where did I get that idea? Well, I got it from you.
No, you didn't.
It comes from the circumstances in the play. The
What does it
circumstances.
say? Which
Without her, I have no hope of ever having a career. She's my key to a career.
Is that what's going on with you before she comes in?
She's, as far as I know, before she comes in, she's left me. So I have no hope of a career.
And that's what your preparation was based on.
That was the base of it, yes.
Suppose the script said you had regained your enjoyment. You were enjoying life again. See, but part of the sun fading was part of living well again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hear a voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's an interesting problem with that. Acting problem. It's called a shock reaction. A shock reaction is when you open the telegram and there's some dreadful news in it, and you've been feeling very good, right? Or you come home and there's a note saying from your wife saying, I have left you with Joe. See, I don't want to see you again. Now that emotionally, one can imagine, causes a very strong, immediate shock reaction. That could have been here.
Yeah, yeah,
You see?
yeah.
Well, what would you have done?
If I hear her voice, it could be like, I don't know how to put that, not in a result. It could be like, I don't know, like I just got kicked in the stomach?
That's a possibility. See, I'll tell you, that a shock reaction can be very difficult because in order for it to be realized truthfully. It's very difficult because it happens so shockingly fast.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So you pick up a note which says, your wife has run away with somebody. Now, you sit, you think about that. What 3 things would you do? Which, when you do them, would dramatize the shock reaction? See? Let's say, first, you run like crazy into a clothes closet, and it's empty, right?
Okay.
Then you run into the kitchen, and there's no sign of her being there. Then you start to call her mother, and you dial the number, and then you decide not to do it. So you throw the telephone on the floor. Now, the difficulty is to get that much emotion going for you.
Yeah.
You know, as you would in reality. But if you do every one of those consciously chosen things, really doing them, really know why you're doing them, it will induce the emotion that ordinarily you would have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and fake.
Yeah.
You follow?
Yeah.
Now, that's why if you had been lying there for the first time in months, feeling good,
Yeah, things went right today for a change. Whatever.
and suddenly you hear a voice that induces a shock reaction in you, then it's a question of how you break it down. Just a minute. You say, 1, it's as if somebody punched me in the stomach, right? It's looking under the bed to make sure you weren't dreaming. Then going to the door. Now, if you do each one of those chosen things fully, it will induce in you the emotion that otherwise you have to push yourself, and it's chancy.
Yeah.
See?
Because otherwise you're going after the emotion directly.
That's right. Instead of doing what you've chosen, knowing why you're doing it, it brings with it its own emotion. Suppose you said to yourself, if he'll give you a divorce, you'll kill yourself. You've been coming all the way from the coast, right? You gotta do a cab. And you came here immediately. What was going on during all that time? And why? You have to play with all the ramifications of circumstances.
Then the emotional life would be fuller.
Brian, see what happens here.
Hello, man.
Have you seen Father?
Yes, he's down there in the garden puttering with the flowers.
Does he know you're here?
No, I don't think so. I saw him down there in the garden. That's a new one. He used to call everything petunias.
You'll find some other changes in him if you look closely.
Oh, this one I like. He's got a harmless occupation at last.
Sit down, Jock.
You look to me, Mandy, like a girl with a very long story on the tip of her tongue. Kindly make it short as possible. I've got to get back to Southampton this afternoon.
You won't want to go back when you know how it is here.
That's all right.
Let me tell you about this. You're not enjoying yourself enough.
Okay.
It takes some thought, and you are not troubled enough.
Right, yeah, and then I have to cover it up. Is that right? The preparation comes first, and then I have to...
My dear girl, if you want to cover everything up, you better have it first.
Right.
Let me see you cry. Cry, hurry up. When I tell you to, stop it. Script.
Then stop.
Cry. Don't look for the reality. Mother, like your grandmother passed away. Cry. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can just cry. I don't know.
Yeah, you can try. Make the sounds.
You mean just pretend to cry?
Let's see what happens.
Jock.
Hello, Mandy.
Have you seen Father?
He's down there in the garden.
Does he know you're here?
No, I don't think so. I saw him puttering down there with the flowers. I mean, that's a new one. He used to call everything petunias.
You'll find some other changes in him if you look closely.
Well, this one I like. He's got a harmless occupation at last.
Sit down, Jock.
He looked to me, Mandy, like a girl with a very long story on the tip of her
You
tongue.
see, all that is valid. Because you can be interpreted as having a very strong feeling if you could find some amusement in being a kid that would start to see. So, laugh, cry, hurry up.
Jock,
Hello, Mandy.
have you seen Father?
Yes, he's down in the garden.
Does he know you're here?
I don't think so. I just looked down and saw him puttering with the flowers. That's a new one. He used to call everything petunias.
You'll find some other changes in him if you look closely.
Oh, this one I like. He's got a harmless occupation at last.
Sit down, Jock.
You look to me, Mandy, like a girl with a very long story on the tip of her tongue. Kindly make it short as possible. I've got to get back to Southampton this afternoon.
You won't want to go back when you know how it is here.
We'll argue that one later. Shoot.
You better snap out of that beach club lightheadedness of yours, because you and I have run into something desperately serious.
He looks all right.
However he looks, I don't think he has much longer to live.
What's he got?
There isn't a name for it. You might say spiritual malaise in its most malignant form.
Spiritual malaise, my foot. You'd say something like that only if you'd been to Bennington.
There's every sign he intends to kill himself.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, not him.
That's just what I was saying to Toby last night.
Well, who's Toby?
Dr. Wells' son. He's also a doctor.
Well, I remember him. He's not much older than us. He can't know anything.
All right. Okay. See, I bet you cry easily. Every actress cries. But I bet you can laugh a lot. Right?
Yes.
Now is a question of whether you adjust to each moment. Right?
Right.
You gotta see that she's trying. But you're not gonna ask. See? What's the point when somebody says here, God Almighty, my father's dying of triple cancer, losing his legs, losing his eyes, and building up a tragedy that doesn't even exist. In Shakespeare, and he was good. See, what's the point of trying to mentalize that devotion when say cry, laugh, you won't lose your adjustment. She'll make you curious. But the fact is that you go through your heads. Oh, my father died. Oh, my father died. Oh, shit won't happen. Oh, my father died. I say no. Cry. I can't tell you what's funny. You know what's funny. So be funny. Then we'll find out whether or not you're adjusting to each other.
When we walk into a room, we have a point of view about everybody. You look at somebody and you think they're attractive. You look at someone else and you think they're unattractive, or you don't like the way they dress. So you automatically have an honest point of view every time you do something. It's whether or not you use it. A point of view in a relationship would be affected by what you mean to me. So that if you basically were someone who's going to give me $1 million to run my theater, I am going to have a point of view about you. If you're the IRS man coming to me to take $1 million from me, I'm going to have a very different point of view. But ultimately, point of view is just your honest opinion, how you really feel about that person in that moment.
What do you think I'm trying to do but face it and make you face it?
No, you know I'm no good in this. I'm only the wayward son, his afterthought in his love life with Mother.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Well, all right, but it's true. I mean, this is your problem exclusively. I don't mean a thing to him except as some kind of reminder of his own failure. The only thing he cares about in this world is you. It's like an obsession.
That's wrong. That's fantastically wrong.
No, then why does he go on so about your getting married? Has it ever occurred to you that maybe he never...
Please shut up.
Gladly.
You don't have any point of view which is strong enough towards your father, towards your mother, towards your father's troubles. You follow?
Yeah.
It's almost as if you have it, a line reading.
Uh-huh.
Things, moments don't mean anything to you. Either they come to you spontaneously, or you have to work for them.
I guess I know what the point of view I should have, but it's not in my behavior at all.
I wonder if there's a reason for that.
I'm sure there is.
So what is it?
I'm not sure, but I don't think I leave myself alone to allow that to happen.
Why don't you leave yourself alone?
I may be too conscious of what's happening around me and playing the scene. I don't know for sure.
Are you trying to be simple?
Yeah.
How do you feel about your father?
I don't like him at all. He's never treated me well since I grew up, and I'm angry at him.
You're not emotionally involved in this. That's rather neutral, isn't it?
Yes.
That's no good.
Yes.
What do you think of your father? You almost had it then.
I think he's a real bastard. He's been a shit.
Let me see you express that without words. What do you think of your father? No words. That would be better, you see. Now the fact that you don't have a point of view. What do you think of the fact that your sister says your father may kill himself?
That's ridiculous.
Not words.
Oh.
It's a joke. But what do you do when you hear a good joke?
I laugh.
So laugh. You follow?
Yes.
In other words, there is no meaning for acting in what you're doing. You can do it by the way in which you read the lines, which would be empty, or you can do it in the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll do the worst thing I can possibly do. Tell him that your father is thinking of killing himself. See, and you have a ball on the bed, right?
Okay.
This is pure indication, but do it anyway. Tell him.
There's every sign he intends to kill himself.
Not him. No, not him. I don't believe it. I simply don't believe it.
That's better, but not as vindicated as you would think. See? Now, you are not full enough. Yes, what?
Yeah, I know. This is a hard one for me.
It's a hard one for you.
Yeah.
Why?
I guess hysteria doesn't come easy for me. I don't like.
Who says you have to be hysterical?
Oh, that's what you wanted me to come in from. I don't know.
Don't be literal.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
You are in real trouble. I don't care what it is. The source of preparation is not what you achieve.
Right.
It's where it comes from.
Right.
Do you understand that? She's your sister. I thought she was your bookkeeper's assistant. Go out for a minute and come in and let me see you greet your sister. Do that.
Mandy,
Jock.
Well, that's like two people who don't believe in sex. This is acting, not blind reading. Show them the papers. Say, what's this? Don't examine it because you won't see anything.
Okay.
See?
What is it?
Some legal papers. Clifford Evans had them sent up from the bank today for us to sign. Father's already signed them.
What does it all mean?
Father settled practically all his money on us. It's sitting in cash in the bank waiting for us to go and pick it up.
What do you think of that?
I think it's just great.
Do you believe it?
No, I guess no, I don't think he'd do that.
You say it's some kind of tax dodge.
Yeah. It's a meaningless gesture. It isn't anything he did out of his heart.
It's a joke. I say that for exercise purposes, turn this into physical acting, not blind reading. In order to do it, it has to have a meaning to you. Doesn't it?
Yes.
The poor actor reads lines. A good actor expresses the meaning with his behavior. So even before you notice that she's in trouble, she just sits there, greet her. What do you think of your father about to kill himself?
That's another
That
joke.
gets you on the floor. You follow? The worst possible direction I can give you. I'm about to. See, when you tell her that your father used to bury Indian arrow beds. Keep yourself from breaking down. Can you keep yourself from breaking down?
I can try.
That's the best you can do. Right. Now, don't wait for God to make you hysterical. You understand that?
Yeah.
Before you come in, pull yourself together. But what are you gonna pull together? A terrific urge to break down. Right? I'm telling you, this is the worst kind of direction. So go ahead and do it.
Hello, Mandy.
Jack, have you seen Father?
Yes, he's down there in the garden.
Did you hear the way she said that?
Barely.
Barely.
Yeah. Now thinking about
That would change you. You're too shy. What does it come down to?
point of view and
behavior. A good actor expresses himself through his behavior. A poor actor reads the lines. Take your choice. Now I'll tell you something about preparation. Start crying. Mechanically, who cares? Let's hear the text.
Hello, Mandy.
Jeff, have you seen Father?
Yes, he's down there in the garden.
Does he know you're here?
No, I don't think so. I just looked down and saw him puttering with flowers. That's a new one. He used to call everything petunias.
Joke.
He used to call everything petunias.
You'll find some other difference in him, other changes in him if you look closely.
Oh, this one I like. He's got a harmless occupation at last.
Sit down, Jock.
What point have I made to you, if any?
My point of view, which seems to be non-existent right now, needs to be expressed through my behavior.
That's a big statement, but you're right. What about you?
I feel like I should just relax and allow things to happen to me.
Why aren't you
I don't
relaxed?
know. But I'm not.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you relaxed? She's
I guess
relaxed.
I'm frightened.
What?
I guess I'm frightened.
Of what?
I don't know, failure.
Suppose you fail.
I know, I suppose I fail.
What'll happen to you?
I'll just get up again and try again.
Will you lose your boyfriend?
No.
Will you lose your parents?
No.
What terrible thing
Nothing.
can happen to you?
Nothing. And I know that here.
Where should you know it?
Here.
There. You can't fail.
I know.
All right. There's no point in talking about being nervous or being afraid to fail or wishing you were dead or had listened to your mother and got a job at Bloomingdale's. There's no point in saying any of that because you're gonna be afraid to fail You're gonna be afraid to make a fool of yourself. All of these things are gonna happen. So let them happen. Then you fix them. All right. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Go like that.
No. Ah. Ha! Mandy!
Have you seen Father?
Yeah, he's down in the garden.
Does he know you're here?
No, I just looked down and saw him puttering the flowers. And that's a new one. He used to call everything petunias.
Well, you'll find some other changes in him if you look closely.
Oh, this one I like. He's got a harmless occupation at last.
Sit down, Jock.
Listen, Mandy, you look like a girl with a very long story on the tip of her tongue. You kindly make it short as possible. I've got to get back to Southampton this afternoon.
You won't want to go back when you know how it is here.
Well, we'll argue that one later. Shoot.
You better snap out of that beach club lightheadedness of yours, because we've run into something desperately serious, you and I.
He looks all right.
However he looks, I don't think he has much longer to live.
What's he got?
There isn't a name for it. You might say spiritual malaise in its most malignant form.
Oh, spiritual malaise, my foot. You'd say something like that only if you'd been to Bennington.
There's every sign he intends to kill himself.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, not him.
That's what I said to Toby last night.
Oh, who's Toby?
He's Dr. Wells' son. He's also a doctor.
I remember him. He's not much older than us. He can't know anything.
He doesn't have to in this case. He broke it to me gently as he could. And since then, I've realized it's much worse. It's much more immediate.
Why? Did you find a gun in the desk drawer with one silver bullet in it?
For God's sakes, Jock! You've got to see this plain.
And for God's sakes, Mandy, why couldn't you give me this baloney on the telephone last night and save me the trouble of making a long trip?
Well, take a look at this baloney.
What is it?
It's legal papers. Clifford Evans sent them up from the bank this morning for the two of us to sign. Father signed them already.
Well, what does it all mean?
He settled practically all his money on the two of us. It's all in cash. It's sitting in the bank waiting for us to go and pick it up. I'm not taking mine. But you can do as you please with yours. Spend it, give it away, hide it under a brick.
Come on, this means nothing more than some kind of tax dodge. In which case, I'll be glad to cooperate to help the old man out.
I was sure you'd be big about it.
Is that all you have to go on?
There is too much more, and it all adds up. Jock, you love him, don't you?
No, I don't think I do. And why should I? Should you love someone that's never given you anything but contempt?
Plus a big allowance.
Yeah, well, too big. If you ask me, it was conscience money. Yeah, this is conscience money. He had a God complex, thought he could create me in his image. Well, it didn't work because I just happened to have a heart of my own, and it wasn't in the legal profession. And now I guess he's begun to suspect that maybe he isn't God after all, and he's trying to square accounts the only way he knows how to.
Last night he talked about you. He said he was the failure, not you.
Oh, he said that, did he?
And there was none of this God complex creating you in his image. He said you'd done the right thing by choosing to live a life of your own.
Sis, I hate it. I hate not being fond of him the way I used to be when we were kids. He never had much time to spend with us, and Mother was always all over us, but I never had any respect for her, and I had real respect for him. When he did have time for us, he could do nice little human things, like letting me hold the fish pole when there was only one, and the time he bought the Indian arrowheads at the antique shop and planted them in the garden for us to dig up and think we discovered them, and he was sore as hell at Mother for telling us the truth.
Well, only if he done one little human thing since I grew up and disappointed him. Well, have you figured out how he proposes to knock himself off?
It'll be an accident.
Such as?
Crashing a plane on a bad landing or swimming out beyond his capacity to swim back.
Oh, those accidents, you can't make a case out of those. Anyway, some people are what is known as accident-prone.
If he's accident-prone now, it means only one thing. He's deliberately careless and reckless. He's gambling with his own life because it's a currency that has lost all value for him. If the salt has lost its savor...
Look, if he wanted to commit suicide, why wouldn't he do it simply? And why go to such elaborate lengths as chartering a plane to crash it?
That's out of consideration for us. Make it look like an accident. Nothing messy. Father would never do anything messy.
No, always legally correct.
Someone's got to get through to him. Revive him, stimulate him, make him feel that he's needed.
Well, who can do that?
All of us, his family. Last night after I talked to you, I called Mother up in Santa Barbara.
I bet you she was a fat lot of help.
She understood. She said she knew that if Joshua Bolton ever lost his chosen mission of reforming the world, that he'd be dead.
It's the nice feeling, isn't it, when the emotion starts coming all by itself. No?
Yeah.
But just let it alone. It may stay.
Yeah.
May disappear. The very fact that you feel something happening can make it go away.
Yeah.
You're a terrible Walter.
Terrible what?
Yeah, Walter.
Oh.
How old are you?
28.
28. How long have you been acting?
4 years.
How old are you?
24.
Why?
Why? Okay.
Thank you.
You should be a better Walter for 24.
I haven't had too much practice.
No, I know. That's my generation.
Here's some sandwiches, Lily. Bill Moore's mother made them. They're roast lamb. Where'd you get those?
Mr. Richard sent them.
Who?
You know, Mr. Strobel's friend, the one that gave the balloon to Carlo.
Ah, the one who had to find out you were married.
Well, I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
Where do you come from?
I come from rehearsing.
What's that mean?
It means that I'm searching for it. It means that I've got a new lease on life or something. It's great, I guess. It's greatness.
How do you feel about knowing you're great?
Great, I guess.
You know. What about you?
I think he's being irresponsible.
You don't anticipate the scene.
Okay.
I'm talking
About the minister. About the house and the
Yeah.
job. Okay. Well, a man came to the hotel today and said that he'd consider him for a job that he's perfect for.
Is that your heart?
Well, there's a White House that comes with the job.
Is that in your heart? What he has been offered?
I don't understand the question.
How do you feel?
It's great.
Great.
It's wonderful.
Finally, you're gonna be dragged out of poverty, right? He's gonna get a job. Now you're being dragged out of poverty, too. Why?
To go into show business.
That's not enough.
To be a star.
What's that mean?
Then I'll have, everything I want.
What are you gonna have? How do you feel?
I don't know how to put it into words.
That's how you feel. Why do you come in?
To get dressed to leave.
To leave for what?
To go act. To do my act.
Just do your act.
To be a smash.
That means what?
Triumph. Triumph.
You're getting ready for a triumph.
Yes.
You can't do this scene sitting down. Really. Although you can read part of it because the whole thing floats on your ecstasy and your sickening disappointment. How do you feel about that, Vaudeville?
It's disgusting.
I said that.
It gives us no hope for the future.
You'd be bums.
We'll be bums.
Instead of what?
Nice people.
How would you like to be married to an actor who plays Pottstown, Pennsylvania, twice a year? That's all.
I wouldn't like it.
What?
I wouldn't like it.
What do you want?
I want a home, and I want security, and I want a family life that's real.
To have a home. What does that mean?
To be surrounded by people that I love, with me.
Yeah.
And familiar surroundings, food. Food.
Everything is wonderful. What's acting?
Everything's all over the place, and there's no...
Now, if you were the perfect actress, I said to you, how do you feel on Vaudeville? You would vomit. Why do you come in?
I come in to get ready to perform.
So what are you going to prepare for?
For, something in the area of ecstasy.
And you?
Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Which goes as soon as he says, like, this is what you're talking about, the preparation being just for the first moment. Okay.
Now look, actors don't say something in the nature of ecstasy. They can't talk because the words fill them with such full emotion. Now you can't get that now, but you can get an approximation. Now prepare, and then let's have as much exchange as possible. Begin.
You were gone so long today.
We were rehearsing.
Rehearsing? Rehearsing? What do you mean? Who was rehearsing?
Here's some sandwiches, Lily. Bill Moore's mother made them. They're roast lamb. Where'd you get those?
Mr. Richard sent them.
Who?
You know, Mr. Strobel's friend, the one that gave the balloon for Carlo?
Oh, the one who had to find out you were married?
Well, I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
Val, that isn't funny.
I think it is. We're going out to Washington tonight.
Who's going on to Washington?
Bill and I.
I thought you were writing an act for Johnny and Bill, and...
As it turns out, Bill's mother delivered an ultimatum. She wants Johnny to forget the theater and stick to his job, but that leaves Bill high and dry unless I team up with him tonight.
Well, you mustn't. Julie was here today, and I had to borrow $5 from her.
I wish you hadn't done that.
Well, it's done, so we're sure of a few meals anyway, so you mustn't.
Do you remember that blue shirt I used to have? Do you know where it is? It's still around?
Yeah, there was a man here today from Leffertsville.
From where?
Leffertsville, Staten Island, the school.
Oh, what'd he say?
Nothing much. He was here only a short time. He was a minister.
That's done it.
He said he'd consider you, Val.
Well, if things go right tonight, honey, he can forget me.
You mean to say that if you and Bill win a measly $10, you throw...
As it turns out, it's more than $10. It's $10 to begin with. It's $10 to begin with, but it's also a trip on the Jersey. It's a... Yeah. Okay. As it turns out, it's more than $10. It's $10 to begin with, but it's also a full week's work at a theater on the Jersey coast, and the pay for the act is $40. And then the winners come back for another week, full week's work. Full week's work at the Jersey coast, and the pay for the act is another $40. And even that's not the important thing.
What is?
The important thing is that the bookers, the guys who place the acts in all the theaters.
Too big. It's too big, honey. It's very good, but it's too big because it stops him. See? You have it.
Okay.
Why do you think they hold on to it?
They want to show it, you know. I mean, it takes a lot for a good actor to pull up this emotion. So the first thing you do is you want to say, see all this emotion I got? Look how good I am. That's the main thing. Or they're afraid. They think they've got it. They've got to keep it to play the scene. But what it does is it kills the scene.
That's not even the important thing.
What is?
The important thing is that the bookers, the guys who place the acts in all the theaters, come to the Washington regularly just to sign people up.
Oh, that's the important thing?
Certainly. If Bill and I... Here's that darn shirt. If we're any good at all, we ought to sell right along after tonight.
But I thought you were all through at the stage. I mean, going on yourself as an actor.
I thought so, too.
I never dreamed that you...
I never dreamed I would either, but... See, it just happened. I didn't plan on it. Sometimes the greatest opportunities in life happen just this way.
You call this a great opportunity?
Certainly. Bill has a good vaudeville personality, and with any decent material, there's no limit to where he and I can go.
Where can you go, Val? From one town to another? From one hotel room to the next?
Why not? It could be a good life. You're not broke.
You mean to say that we're going to spend the rest of our life in rooms like this?
No, not rooms like this. Beautiful rooms with good furniture, good service.
All hotel rooms are alike.
What are you talking about? Some of them have... Oh, I see. You mean they're all alike in feeling. I'm always surprised. Oh, I see. You mean they're all alike in feeling. I'm always surprised when you throw me a curve like that.
What does that mean?
He's usually pretty literal-minded.
And what does that mean?
But anyway, listen. If we really succeed, if we really make it, here's what we can do. You won't have to travel with me. You could stay in, we could buy a little house somewhere, and you could live in it while I'm out of town.
And what kind of a marriage would that be?
Then come with me then. I guess we don't have to decide tonight. I haven't signed any contracts yet.
Val, I've never been to these amateur nights before, but I've heard about them. Is it true that the audience throws things at the amateurs?
No. Well, sometimes they're a trifle wild, but that's only when the management encourages that kind of behavior. Why, you're afraid I'll get hit with a rotten egg?
Yes!
You have all kinds of confidence in me, don't you?
Oh, Val, how could you stand it if somebody threw something at you?
I guess I'd live through it.
Oh, you'd live through it, but you'd be different.
How would I be different?
You'd be a man who'd let somebody throw something at him.
Well, what of it?
Well, you'd never be the same again. You're not like Bill Moore. You've held a fine position.
And still Carlo needed two pairs of shoes.
She didn't. She had a pair for Sundays and a pair for school.
No. Wait a minute. You see, that's the idea. Now, you are too strong for him. See, that's an element in a character
She's like,
which
yeah.
doesn't know how to fight. She suffers, but doesn't know how to fight. See, listen, you gotta be busy.
Constantly doing these things.
Even if you take your shade off 9 times and make your time.
Perfect. It's got to be.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason. You see, and you're emotionally, you're unadjusted. That is, she's one of those old-fashioned wives who suffers but doesn't fight her husband back. They don't exist, but you know what I mean. See?
Can I ask a question? I think I understand why, because later on in the text, she still tries to convince him about the school. Okay. So she's still holding with that as a possibility.
But not inside. But she doesn't fight with it.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
Why was I doing all this?
It fed whatever feeling of excitement that I might have. It fed it by doing that for some reason.
That's good. But next time, do it with real clothes.
Right.
When do you find out he's going into Boulder? Run the text at the beginning. I'll show you where.
Okay. You were gone so long today.
We were rehearsing.
Rehearsing? Who was rehearsing? What do you mean?
Here's some sandwiches, Lily. Bill Moore's mother made them. They're roast lamb. Where'd you get those?
Mr. Richard sent them.
Who?
You know, Mr. Strobel's friend, the one that gave the balloon to Carlo.
Oh, the one who had to find out you were married?
I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
That's not serious.
Okay.
Be playing with you.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of trouble.
Oh, so I don't think he's going on yet. I don't think he's...
That's what I'm trying to
Okay, okay. Oh, okay. All right. I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
Well, that isn't funny.
Oh, I think it is. We're going on at the Washington.
Who's going on?
Bill and I.
But I thought you were writing an act for Johnny.
No, as it turns out, Bill's mother decided Johnny's got to stick to the theater, stick to his job and forget the theater, but that leaves Bill high and dry, and so I go on with him tonight.
But no, Val, you mustn't. Julie was here today, and I had a...
That's what starts.
That's it. You mustn't. No.
When you really find out, it builds itself.
I see. I see.
You know, you could do this scene all by yourself without her. Why is that?
Because I don't need her to go on stage.
Because you're independent. Activity consumes the whole scene.
Do I have an independent activity?
You might have till he comes in.
Okay.
You know, acting is an emotional profession. You answer questions, not to reveal the logical response, but the emotional response. You see, I'm a bum. What's that mean? Nothing, unless is translated into inner experience. You know what the most important word is in this acting thing? Why? And the answer is emotional.
We're stuck in our logic.
You get stuck.
You were gone so long.
We were rehearsing.
Rehearsing? Who is rehearsing? What do you mean?
Oh, I brought some sandwiches, Lily. Bill Moore's mother made them. They're roast lamb. Where'd you get those?
Mr. Richard sent them?
Who?
You know, Mr. Strobel's friend, the one that gave Carlo the balloon.
Oh, the one who had to find out you were married.
Well, I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
It's not funny, Val.
Oh, I think it is. We're going on at the Washington.
Who's going on at the Washington?
Bill and I.
But I thought you were writing an act for Johnny and Bill.
As it turns out, Bill's mother delivered an ultimatum. She wants Johnny to forget his job and stick to the theater, but that leaves Bill high and dry unless I team up with him tonight.
No, Val, you mustn't do it. Julia was here today, and I had to borrow $5 from
I
her.
wish you hadn't have done that.
Well, it's done, so we're sure of a few meals anyway, so you mustn't do it.
Do you remember that blue shirt I used to have? I think if Bill and I both wore blue. Oh.
There was a man here today from Leffertsville, Val.
Where?
From Leffertsville. Staten Island. The school.
Oh, what did he say?
Nothing much. He was here only a short time. He was a minister.
That's right.
He said he'd consider you, Val.
Well, if things go right tonight, honey, he can forget me.
Do you mean to say that if you and Bill win a measly $10...
As it turns out, it's more than $10. It's $10 to begin with, but it's also a full week's run at a theater down on the Jersey coast that's owned by the same man that owns the Washington. And the pay for the act is $40. And after that, the winners come back for another full week at the Washington for another $40, and even that's not the important thing.
What is?
The important thing is that the bookers, the guys who place the acts in all the theaters, come to the Washington regularly just to sign people up.
Oh, that's the important thing?
Certainly, Bill. There's that darn shirt. If Bill and I are any good at all, we ought to sail right along after tonight.
But I thought you were through with the stage. I mean, going on yourself as an actor. I never dreamed that you'd...
I never dreamed I would either, but as you can see for yourself, it just happened. I didn't plan on it. Sometimes the greatest opportunities in life happen just this way. Unthought of, unscheduled.
You call this a great opportunity?
Could be. Bill has a good vaudeville personality, and if the right material, there ain't any limit to how far we can go.
Where can you go, Val? From one town to another? From one hotel room to the next?
Why not? It could be a good life if you're not broke.
You mean to say that we'd spend the rest of our life in rooms like this?
No, not rooms like this. Beautiful rooms with good furniture, good service.
All hotel rooms are alike.
What are you talking about? Why, some of them... Okay. You mean they're all alike in feeling? I'm always surprised when you throw me a curve like that. You're usually pretty literal-minded.
What does that mean?
But anyway, if we really succeed, you won't have to come with us. We could buy a little house somewhere and you and the baby could keep it warm while we're out of town.
What kind of marriage would that be?
All right, then come with me. I guess we don't have to decide now. Haven't signed any contracts yet.
Well, I haven't been to any of these amateur nights before, Bill, but I've heard. I've heard about them. Is it true that the audience throws things at the amateurs?
No, that's only... Sometimes they get a try for a while, but that's only when the management encourages them to do that. The Washington, they don't tolerate any behavior like that. Why? You afraid that I'll get hit with a rotten egg?
Yes.
Well, you're just loaded with all kinds of confidence in me, aren't you?
Oh, Val. How could you stand it if somebody threw something at you?
I guess I'd live through it.
You'd live through it, but you'd be different.
How would I be different?
You'd be a man who'd let somebody throw something at him. Oh, Val, you're not like Bill Moore. You've held a fine position.
And still Carlo needed shoes.
She didn't. She had a pair for Sundays and a pair for school. What more does anybody need?
Depends on the anybody you're talking about. I want more to life than some deathly dull routine that guarantees my kid 2 pairs of shoes. I want to feel that I'm going somewhere. I feel I'm doing something. I want to feel alive.
And going on at the Washington Theater is going to make you feel that way?
Listen, I put together a good act, better than the one I did for Ryan and Ray. I want to get something out of it.
Oh, remember how you used to argue with Dr. Harmon about all kinds of deep things like...
Yes, I remember.
Well, you're not going to be able to argue about Bill Moore, You're not going to be able to argue with Bill Moore about things like this.
Well, I'll argue with him about prize fighting.
That's what I mean. You're not going to have anybody around you who understands the things that you know. Pretty soon it's going to be like you don't even know them anymore.
Do you think that because I'm in vaudeville that I'm going to stop reading? Do you think that I'm going to stop thinking?
You stopped thinking already. You stopped thinking when you told Bill that you'd go on with him tonight at the Washington. It isn't right, Val. It isn't sensible.
For God's sake, Lily.
This White House, this job in Leopardville, this White House that goes with it.
Yeah, we've had those White Houses before.
We've never had a White House.
All right, so it was yellow and the roof leaked and the parlor stove didn't work. You coming over to the theater?
No.
Well, I guess that answers my question. I'll take the baby.
You're not going to take the baby to the theater in the audience while you're up on the stage. Anything could happen to her.
She's not going to be alone. I'll get someone I know to sit with her. You better call her and give her a sandwich.
She ate already. She ate with the Lenoir.
Well, that makes 2 sandwiches for you then.
I'm not hungry.
Will you stop brooding? You've acted as though I've taken to a life of crime. God damn it!
Okay. What made you lose your temper?
I can't put my clothes on and I can't get any help. I mean, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated.
Because you're playing Rush instead of Speed. See, you're making a fetish of setting a record. Stay on that bed and stay there. Don't argue with it. We discussed that yesterday, didn't we? Take your time, Susan. Prepare for a peaceful life in the country and go moment to moment. See? I'm talking to you now, right? Do I have to get up? No. Touch noses with you? Well, you're putting the emphasis on speed instead of getting your clothes changed nicely, moment to moment, and stay there. See, you covered as much territory as he did. See, except he was going this way, and you were going this way. The moments never happened because it was a question of setting a time record. Whenever you do something for its effect, rather than for its meaning. You have a dream of the White House, and you have a dream of fame. That's what sets it going. Right. It's how you do what you do, which makes the character. That's what character acting is. How you do what you do. That's what it is.
You want me to make a character adjustment in the scene?
Emotionally. I don't say you change your speech. I don't say you adjust in a way that's not truthful to you. All I said is, look, she's not a fighter. She's a demure girl. That's your character.
I bought some sandwiches. Gilmore's mother made them. They're roast lamb. Where'd you get those?
Mr. Richards gave them to me. You know, Mr. Strobel's friend, the one that gave Carla the balloon?
Oh. The one who had to find out you were married?
I could have been a widow.
Over my dead body.
Sam, that isn't funny.
Oh, I think it is. We're going on at the Washington.
What's going on at the Washington?
Bill and I.
But I thought you were writing an act for Johnny and Bill.
As it turns out, Bill's mother delivered an ultimatum. She wants Johnny to stick to his job and forget about the theater, but that leaves Bill high and dry unless I team up with him tonight.
No, but Val, you mustn't. Julia was here today, and I had to borrow $5 from her, so you mustn't.
I wish you hadn't done that.
Well, it's done, so we're sure of a few meals anyway.
Just a minute. Go outside. Then prepare. Then start again. Hurry up here. Clyde. Okay. All right. Put everything back. Why you come in?
To get dressed to go on stage.
What do you mean to go on stage?
To perform.
What do you feel about that?
I can't really I don't know what to say about it. I could just...
Do you want to be a star? Yes.
Yes.
Is that your life's ambition?
Yes.
Yes.
The 60s were a very volatile time. You know, drugs, sex, rock and roll, and people were challenging the establishment of everything, and they were breaking down walls and all of that. And when it came to the work that Sandy was doing, they looked at it as establishment and old school. And they weren't disciplined in the way that he was disciplined, and they weren't demanding any serious emotional depth out of themselves, which is what he's all about. So at that point, he became very disillusioned. He said, I'm teaching actors for a theater that no longer exists. And that's when he began to say, you know, it's time for me to stop. But of course, he couldn't. He couldn't stop.
You're a teacher.
Yes.
Right. Well, what kind of teacher are you?
I teach at a law school.
I know that, but I mean that. You're a law-abiding teacher, right?
Yes.
If they cut your salary and the rest of the staff go on strike, you don't.
Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you get to be one of the vice presidents of the school, in charge of Latin.
That's good.
Why don't you like the family?
Because they're conformists. They're not. They're a unit, and I don't believe in this unit. I would be on strike if I were in his position, and we got cuts in salary. I'd be the one on strike. I'd probably be the one leading the strike.
How do they feel about you?
Well, they think I'm a troublemaker, and that I'm just a little sort of a twit of an. You know, they don't like the way I behave. I'm not part of the structure.
You're a non-conform.
Right.
Now, what is this meeting about that you won't go to?
Well, I don't know what it's about yet, but my brother wants to talk about Edith, about one of our sisters. It doesn't matter what it's about. I have no interest in being part of it.
But you should know.
I should know what it is specifically.
Turn your back on each other. Right now. And you start.
Terry?
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to act like a child.
Why do you say that?
Well, right now I just don't get any answer.
Is that enough?
Just no answer? Yes, if I ask her, if I call her name and I know she's there.
Go on.
Terry, John's waiting for you.
Let him.
They all are.
Well, let them.
I don't know what you hope to prove.
I'm not trying to prove things. I just don't like conferences.
Come on, please, dear.
Be a good husband and go in my place, Francis.
It's the family John wants. Something to do with your sister, apparently.
Wouldn't doubt it for a minute. Who went to meet the boat?
Edith.
Thought so. Martin, too?
No. Edith thought that only a woman should meet her.
A true Boston spirit. I hope she took something along to dump into the harbor.
Anyhow, John asked me to tell you that he wants to talk to us all about it.
Well, you can tell John just precisely what I'd like to tell her when she comes.
Well, you must. It would be so very sisterly and considerate.
You know, you have to find a calculated way of dealing with her when she's on a tangent.
Right.
You see,
okay.
You've got to have a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
And you've got to be prepared at what you think the meeting is about. What could you think? You'd have to invent it. To give you an idea, the meeting is about moving Carl back to a more Catholic neighborhood. You've got to invent a reason which will give you a springboard for the beginning. Otherwise, this is casual, right from the beginning.
Right.
You see? You see, you're sitting in a chair, both of you, but you have nothing going on inside of you. If you said, she's got such a temper that you never know quite what to say to her. See, she gets furious. It gives your behavior a quality that it doesn't have now.
Right.
Now, it's just the text for both of you. You follow?
Right.
In other words, the play begins emotionally. And before we see you, you say, well, if you want to act like a child.
Right.
But she didn't do anything.
I had an idea about that. But I wasn't going to do it until we did it.
You're doing it. Do something which permits what he does to come from you.
I don't understand.
Pinch up.
How?
That's right. Look, the basis on which the scene is built is the pinch and the ouch. That is a principle which operates throughout your career. Go deeper and deeper. You understand that? It's not the word, which is the cue. It's the pinch.
It's the behavior.
Which brings words with it.
Right.
Now, this is for when you rehearse. Go ahead now. Do you know he's there?
He's there.
Do you know why he's there?
He was sent up to get me.
Dusa would have started to tremble with rage the moment she heard that door open.
American acting in the 20s was very cardboard. It was very presentational. Sarah Bernhardt was considered one of the two greatest actresses in the world, and the other school was Eleanor Duse. Now, Duse did all of her plays in Italian, but no matter where she went around the world, everybody understood every single moment that she did, because she worked from truth, from who she really was, how she really felt, and you could literally see her blush on stage. Whereas Sarah Bernhardt was very presentational and acting everything and didn't really cry and all of those things. So American actors were pretty bad, actually, most of them at that point. But when they saw the Moscow Art Theater, even the butler was real. He truthfully doing it, and the stage was galvanized, and people had not seen an entire ensemble of people. They might have seen a star do it, but not every single actor on stage.
Now, don't imitate Duse now. Just know that it's coming in as a meaning.
All right.
And you know what it is.
Terry? Of course, if you want to act like a child, Terry, John's waiting
Well,
for
let
you.
him.
They all are.
Let them.
She said, John's waiting for you. But she said, let him. Go on, go on.
I don't know what you hope to prove.
I'm not trying to prove anything. I just don't like conferences.
Oh, come on.
Be a good husband and go in my place, Francis.
It's the family John wants. It's something to do with your sister, apparently.
I don't doubt it for a moment. Who went to meet the boat?
Edith.
Thought so. Martin, too?
No, Edith thought that only a woman should go to meet her.
The true Boston spirit. I hope she took something along to dump in the harbor.
Is that funny? It's a little vituperous.
What?
Vituperous.
Vituperous is... Don't use spit. Use words.
Edith thought that only a woman should go to meet her.
The true Boston spirit. I hope she took something to dump into the harbor.
Anyhow, John asked me to tell you that he wants to talk to us.
Well, you can tell John to... Which is precisely what I'd like to tell her when she gets here.
If you said one thing, and that is that people with the ability for quick irritability but temper do something to you. I'll see. You know.
Yes.
And she has it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand
Yes,
that?
I do.
It gives you a way of behaving
Right. So I'm constantly walking on eggshells with her.
in certain matters.
Yes.
But this is one of them. Now, real emotion, which would come from why they are having this meeting, will help you, no matter how it changes. If you had the impulse to want to back away from her all the time, that might help. I don't know. It's never. What time is it?
2:35.
But it's always some form of what time is it? You follow? Now, play. It's a play. Does that give you something to work?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate the way we're living! Let's get out of this house.
At the moment, I think it would be senseless to.
You wouldn't be too surprised, would you, Francis?
At what?
If I should suddenly call us a day.
Terry, what are you talking about?
It's not a new idea. It's been around for a long time.
I don't see you can say
Well, it
these-
seems I can say it. At last, it seems I can say it. You never thought I would?
I know you wouldn't. You've no reason to.
I don't see a reason! What about our agreement?
Agreements are easy enough before marriage.
Then what's to prevent it? Am I too good a Catholic?
That's one thing I've never thought of any of you.
Why not? Because we don't run to church all the time like newborn Edith? Maybe you better convert as she did and become more Catholic than a pope.
Now you are being Irish.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not one. I've said that too. Maybe I'm not one. I'm nothing. Let them keep on pretending if they like. Not me. Look here. Do you love me? Do you really love me anymore?
What do you think?
Then why don't you say something?
In my opinion, when a necessity for a question of that sort arises...
Professor Mandelon, I think I'm going to be sick, Professor!
Look, it's a lot more here than meets the eye. It's more than a question of where or how we live, whether I teach law or practice it. Now, you've got something on your mind, and have had for months. Why not out with it?
You handled her sensibly.
Yes.
Reasonably.
Right.
Without belligerence. That is what is meant when you say, what do I do? How do I do this? But to give it character, that's character acting. This is what I have to do. And this is the way I'm gonna do it. Where does it come from? He was the one to go and get the wildcat over there to come to the meeting. He's a teacher. All teachers are very reasonable, you know. Gentle. Mental. Not emotional. In other words, a typical teacher. He did everything that way. How you do it makes you a character. Otherwise, it would have been a free improvisation with him working off her, fighting with her, a slum fest. You follow? It's necessary to point that out.
Ah, Spoon Rivers. There, what Sandy said are the things that either make or break the person. They separate the men from the boys. It's from Edgar Lee Masters' Spoon River anthology, and they are poems, and they're stories of people's lives.
We're using Spoon Rivers because, among other reasons, they are all about people who make quite clear the feeling of their life, although they are written as free-verse poems. They've got to be treated as conversational reality. Preparation is intensely personal. It's intensely secret. Nobody's business. But where you got it is only yours. Nobody else. And if somebody says to you, when you came, I told you this yesterday, where did you get that thing you brought with you? The answer is very simple. You see?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, this is such a subtle question and so difficult that it's only the general movement of it, call it wishful thinking. Call it fantasy. Call it preparation. Call it transformation. Call it what you like. See, the only test is something working for you? And then to learn how to let it alone, which will come to.
He didn't think American actors could do Shakespeare. He said, if you want to do Shakespeare, go study in England for 5 years, because we don't do it well. So he used this kind of poetry as his Shakespeare. And the assignment is to take that poetry and turn it into a real person, so that literally when they speak, there is no poetry and they become real. And it is the ultimate form of character work, because not only do you do it as yourself, but then once you understand it as yourself, you figure out what the character of that person is. So you end up creating all the 3 dimensions of the time, the person, their accent, everything. So it's the ultimate coming together of all of the elements of the technique. They're all broken down when we teach them, but at Spoon River Point, they're together, and that's when you fly. And the great actors, it's amazing to watch them.
Anner Clute. Over and over they used to ask me, while buying the wine or the beer, in Peoria first, and later in Chicago, Denver, Frisco, New York, wherever I lived, how I happened to lead the life, and what was the start of it. Well, I told them a silk dress, and a promise of marriage from a rich man. It was Lucius Atherton. But that was not really it at all. Suppose a boy steals an apple from the tray at the grocery store, and they all begin to call him a thief. The editor, minister, judge, and all the people, a thief, a thief, a thief wherever he goes. And he can't get work, and he can't get bread without stealing it. Why, the boy will steal. It's the way the people regard the theft of the apple that makes the boy what he is.
Now we're going to talk about preparation for your purposes. That is not a speech from a book of poems. It is a conversation between you and them, or you and Barbara, or anybody you choose. In other words, it's intimate, conversational, and there's no relation to written poetry. It's conversational reality, not oratory. It's one speech out of a play, and that's all. You yourself must invent the question that prompts that play. To be obvious, somebody says to you, you don't look like a booker. Why'd you get that way? Why are you laughing?
Over and over, they used to ask me, while buying the wine or the beer in Peoria first, and later in Chicago, Denver, Frisco, New York, wherever I lived, how I happened to lead the life. What was the start of it?
Okay, not bad at all. Now, suppose I, as the director, say, Francis, emotionally, you are very alive, but I think it's coming from your nervousness. You see, now, tell me the last 2 lines. Read the last 2 lines.
It's the way the people regard the theft of the apple that makes the boy what he is.
Now, big question. How do you feel about that?
Angry.
Angry. Your interpretation comes from the last 2 lines. That's what you have to prepare for. Our interpretation was unhappy, depressed, nervous. I want that. I need you to be a fighting prostitute. You're saying she's angry. He's a prostitute who never was one. All of these things infuriate you. And that's your emotional interpretation. And reveal it to your companion. Now, I don't get the impression that anger comes easily to you. Is that true or not?
That's true.
Therefore, you'll have to explore. Now, go into a corner or sit there, close your eyes and fantasize. And when you feel ready to kill, then tell somebody what your philosophy of life is. Your feel of that poem was personal, characteristic, and true of you. But I don't want that. But I'm the director. So it's up to you to find a different way. And the way is via preparation.
Yeah.
Which you keep to yourself.
When a great actor works, they're working from their private self. They're going down to the deepest, most private, darkest places a lot of the time, and they're working out of that. Sandy did not believe that acting was therapy. I don't either. So we don't divulge what we use for that reason. And secondly, what moves me does not move you. So if I were to tell you what I'm using, you may look at me and say, that's silly. And what you've done is you've just made me self-conscious about something that I feel. So his belief was, you don't share it. If anybody asks you, where did you get that from? You say, talent.
Over and over, they used to ask me, while buying the wine or the beer, first in Peoria, and later in Chicago, Denver, Frisco, New York, wherever I lived, how I happened to lead the life. What was the start of it? I told them a silk dress and a promise of marriage from a rich man. It was Lucius Atherton. But that was not really it at all. Suppose a boy steals an apple from a tray at the grocery store and everybody begins to call him a thief. The editor, minister, judge, and all the people, a thief, a thief, a thief, wherever he goes. And he can't get work, he can't get bread without stealing it. Well, the boy will steal. It's the way that the people regard the theft of the apple that makes the boy what he is.
It's good. I'm not going to ask you. What does it for you? But you did have a change in emotional color. That's the preparation. Follow? Now, I say, can you make it stronger so that what you have at the end is what you begin with, except stronger?
What I come in with has to be something that makes me explode at the beginning. Is that it? So that it isn't something that grows, it's something that as if it was like a slap in the face or something, so that I come back.
And the word explode is different than having it. It's not exploding. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody has insulted you and really you're ready to,
yeah,
you have a complaint.
Yeah.
Now, you have to stand in line to voice your complaint. You have it at the beginning, and the longer you have to wait,
the more it builds. Because what I did was, I think, my own tendency of reaction. Again. And that is wrong for this character, because I am slower to anger. It takes me, I'm not the kind that explodes back.
You want to do it now?
Well, I can try it.
Try it. Go off in a corner.
All right. Over and over, they used to ask me while buying the wine or the beer, first in Peoria, later in Chicago, Denver, Frisco, New York, wherever I lived, how I happened to live the life. What was the start of it? Well, I told them a silk dress and a promise of marriage from a rich man. It was Lucius Atherton. But that was not really it at all. Suppose a boy steals an apple from a tray at the grocery store, and they all begin to call him a thief. The editor, minister, judge, and all the people, a thief, a thief, a thief, wherever he goes. And he can't get work, he can't get bread without stealing it. Well, the boy will steal. It's the way the people regard the theft of the apple that makes the boy what he is.
That's right. Okay. You see, you have anger in you. But you're human nature. You're human.
Yeah.
The idea of finding it at its most positive, you just began to do it. See? And it brings all kinds of unanticipated things with it. You understand that?
Yeah.
I once went to hear a master class given by famous Viennese singer Lotte Lehmann. And she criticized each of the singers who got up. And there was one woman sang a song, and before she began, there must have been at least 8 bars of introduction to the serious song. And then the woman started to sing, and Rosa Lehmann said, no. You have to start singing inside of yourself at the very first note. So when you come to your open singing, you're emotionally ready. Now that's a form of preparation. You dig that?
Yes.
That means you understand me.
No.
Is that to say that the scene starts before you come on stage?
It damn well does.
I knew an actress that never read the other parts because she said she always wanted to be surprised when she got on stage. She said, in life, you never know what the other person's going to say anyway.
She's got a point.
I told her that.
Why don't you open a studio? This is the only profession, creative profession, that I know that gives you, the actor, a ready-made opportunity to avoid being specific. Can you imagine a pianist playing a general sonata? Can you imagine a ballet dancer just romping? The difficulty, one of them, with acting is that you are given an out for being specific. Lines. You're given lines. You say the lines in the way that generally you feel they should be delivered. But what the lines permit you to do is to avoid having the life come from something specific. The meaning behind every moment is specific. Because that's the source of the emotion. Otherwise, you say you're dead, and you know generally what you'd like to feel. So you combine saying the words and suggesting what the emotion might be, but there are no roots. It has no roots. The emotion of the part has no foundation. Be specific. It's all over the neighborhood playhouse, on the walls. You see?
If you have felt the experience of the specific emotion, and then you try to do something and you haven't got it, you really do feel so empty. You just don't know quite what is wrong, but there's something not there. It doesn't seem to matter even whether what you're called upon to do is supposed to be harsh or sad or depressing or whatever. When you know what you're doing acting-wise, it's then fun.
You know something? Acting is fun.
Yes.
Don't let that get around.
Nothing in life is alien to you. I was a penniless girl from Summon who stepped off the morning train in Spoon River. All the houses stood before me with closed doors and drawn shades. I was barred out. I had no place or part in any of them. And I walked past the old McNeely mansion, a castle of stone mid walks of gardens, with workmen about the place like guards, and the county and state upholding it for its lordly owner, full of pride. I was so hungry I had a vision. I saw a giant pair of scissors dip from the sky like the beam of a dredge and cut the house in two like a curtain. But at the commercial, I saw a man. He winked at me when I was asking for work. He was Walsh McNeely's son. He proved the link in the chain by which I had half ownership in the mansion through a breach of promise suit, the scissors. So you see, the house from the day I was born was only waiting for me.
What do you think of those last 2 lines?
I think she's had the town. I feel like she's, you know, she's really had the town. The joke is on them. It's pure joy. It's triumph.
Well,
it's delicious.
That's what you should begin with. Till I said to you, I saw the funniest thing today. I'm still laughing. You know, I saw a taxi squashed by a truck. Now, and then at the end, it comes out that there were 2 dummies sitting in the back of the taxi that I thought were people, and that they were killed. Now the essence of the poem is that it was hilarious. The lines say, I saw 2 men killed in a taxi today. Ah. Now she goes through hell at the beginning. No job, no money, visions, delirium, And at the end, she's the queen on Spoon River. Can you see the point there? So, but let's say, don't do this, but let's say at the beginning, we see you overcome with joy and delirium. And the lines say, I arrived here, no money, nothing to eat, visions. We say to ourselves, what the hell is she laughing at? You follow? Until finally, at the end, it came out, it's mine, but I didn't know it then. Isn't that great?
Nothing in life is alien to you. Look, I was a penniless girl from Summon. I stepped off the morning train in Spoon River. All the doors were shut and the shades drawn. I was barred out. I had no place, no part in any of them. I walked by the old McNeely mansion, a castle of stone, mid walks and gardens, with workmen all about like guards, and the county and state upholding the property for its lordly owner. Full of pride. I was so hungry. I had a vision. I saw this giant scissor dip from the sky like a dredge, like a beam from a dredge, and it cut the house in two like a curtain. But down at the commercial, I saw a man. He winked at me as I asked for work. It was Walsh McNeely's son. He proved the link in my chain of title to half ownership in the mansion through a breach of promise suit. The scissors. So you see, from the day I was born, the house was just only waiting for me.
What is the justification for this poem, for this speech?
She's full of her accomplishment. She's full of what she did with her life.
I don't mean your justification. I mean the immediate justification. What causes you to try to cheer somebody up?
Oh, because they, they both feel that there's no hope. That they're, that they're locked into the kind of life that they're living now. That they're never going to have any money. That they're never going to get ahead. That they're, they're women.
How would it be if one of them was crying?
Nothing in life is alien to you. I was a penniless girl from Summon who stepped off the morning train in Spoon River. The houses stood before me with closed doors and drawn shutters. I was barred out.
If somebody catches their hand in a rope that's tight-knitted, some tragedy See? And you have to fix it. You don't say, I'm going away for the weekend. When I come back, I'll untie the rope. She'll be dead by that time. Go faster. Because when it comes right down to it, she's in trouble. Right. What's your answer? The hell with it. Look at me. When I got off the train, there was nobody there. I got a job, and I got a house. And so you never know.
I have a tendency myself to do exactly what you're saying. I have a tendency as a person to feel that everything is possible and that there are no boundaries in life. That's sort of the way my life is. And I was preparing while we were talking, and I was trying to deal with her in a way that was much more compassionate, because generally I am not very I am compassionate, but I tend to, in the last few years, not be able to deal with that very well. It's kind of like there's a survival instinct that takes over, and I'm saying, nothing in life is alien to you. Look at me. I'm a penniless girl from Summons who got off the train.
That's why you should have done it.
What's the matter with you? But it's not patient.
Who said
I can't
yet?
be patient with people that cry about things.
What for? If you're crossing the street and the taxi is coming at you, that's no time to be patient.
I think I got off yesterday when we did it again, and I was reaching out to her, and you said that's the direction I want you to go, and it was much more compassionate and much more understanding, and I was trying to relate it to that pain that she's going through, and less to my own selfish, get off your ass and quit the belly aching.
That's better.
It's not very nice.
You know what direction you should be given for the way you did it, which was very nice. Come on, talk. See?
I mean, if the director wanted it the way we just did it,
yeah,
it still would have to have an energy that's...
And simple tempo. The tempo is the only thing that's wrong with it. No, another thing. She's got trouble laughing off.
I hate crying. Let Franny do it tomorrow. Will you?
Yes, you demonstrated very clearly that today you couldn't cry.
See, I don't like to, because when I get those parts, I don't like them.
There's a difference, you know.
Of can or not wanting to.
Not wanting to, doing it.
They hurt, Sandy. And that's why I try to choose parts where I don't have to cry.
That's too personal.
But if you play a part where you have to be emotionally disturbed and hurt yourself every night, 8 a week, which I did once, and I said I'd never do it again, because I don't want to live like that every night.
Don't lose the objectivity of the fact that to play a part is like to chop wood. There's something impersonal in it.
You mean keep your distance from
You need to see it as a job.
I know, but I know that's what you're supposed to do, but it never happens that way, so I get on the stage and I have to hurt myself from something that somebody does to me. I take it personally.
Well, that's possible. It's fine. But you said today you can't cry today.
I didn't think I could because I didn't want to so badly.
Did you notice that I ignored it?
I know you ignore it, but it is a problem that I wish there could be solved where you could just do things on stage emotionally and not have to feel them.
There are many ways of solving a problem.
Oh, tell me.
Give me the part.
All right, the part that I really hated was, I loved it. I mean, it's not that. It was by Tennessee Williams, who's my favorite playwright anyway, aside from Moliere. And
I disagree.
About the playwrights? I know. I think I know you do. You like Shakespeare best?
He's a little more talented.
But he doesn't write as good women as Tennessee does.
That's his problem.
But poor Shakespeare's dead. No,
There's such
asking
a
you
thing.
this.
There's such a thing as being too subjective.
But, all right, if it is called for in the play, which it was in Period of Adjustment, I come on howling with tears, and I howl through tears for 3 acts, and the audience would not laugh as much if I was faking it, which I began to do because I couldn't physically, I felt. It's not a release for me to hurt myself, to feel abandoned, which is what the Isabel Haverstick in that play is about. She feels abandoned. This is not a pleasant thing to have to go through 8 a week. I could hardly...
That's the weakness in it. That you have to do it 8 times a week.
Yes, sir. I know that. 8 a week is only an economic, what do you call them, in our theater. But what I'm asking is, it all right just to say the hell with it and fake it? 5 performances at least.
The chances are that you think you're faking, but you're not. You're not just really overdoing it.
You may be doing a play or a film where you have to go to some pretty dark, deep emotional places. That's not easy for any of us to do. Nobody wants to feel this horrible tragedy. So we have those natural defense systems. But what's great about the technique is it teaches you how to get past them and do it. But if you are a true artist, you will heal yourself through your art. Because we have a saying that says, you cannot use that which you do not acknowledge. If you can't accept something in yourself, it's not in your work. Because how can you go there? You don't accept it, you don't want to deal with it. And I truly believe that acting is a very spiritual art. And the longer you do it, if you're really going to keep going to the next levels and not stagnate, you have to go and you have to get to know yourself. And you come to, at the bottom, you come to accept who you are. And that's one place that some people only reach. But if you can accept everything that you are, good, bad, and ugly, you can be a great actor. Now, what we hope for is that you reach the next level where you truly learn to like who you are. And I don't just mean the good things. You know, it's really easy for people to accept what's good about them. I have a temper. I'm Irish. It's not my best side. But I accept it and I like it now. I don't use it wrongly, but if I get mad about something, it's okay. It's a part of me. And then ultimately, I think the highest level that we all want to achieve, I haven't achieved it yet, but I'm working towards it, is that we learn to love ourselves. So when you look at it that way, acting doesn't hurt anybody. In 21 years, I've never seen acting hurt any real actor. I've seen them say, oh, I'm tired of playing this part, I don't like feeling it anymore. But in that, there's understanding. If you're going into yourself that deep, and you're looking at yourself and what makes you feel and why you feel, you're going to come to some pretty powerful insights about life.
Now do it like a big joke. One sentence. Knock yourself out. You know, that the ridiculousness of what's making us so miserable.
Nothing in life is alien to you. I was a penniless girl from Summits. I got off the train in Spoon River. The houses stood before me like with closed doors and drawn shades. I was bored out. I didn't have a place or a part in any of them. I walked past the old McNeely mansion, a castle of stone with walks and gardens and these workmen all around like guards, and the county and state upholding the property for its lordly owner, full of pride. But down at the Commercial, I saw a man. He winked at me when I asked for work. It was Walsh McNeely's son. He proved the Lincoln the chain of title to half my ownership in the mansion through a breach of promise suit. The scissors. So you see, from the day I was born, the house was only just waiting for me.
You know, there's a characteristic difficulty. I don't know why. Yes, I do. But it's easier to be miserable than to be happy. You know, when you're supposed to be happy, you get all tense and miserable. What was your trouble, Barbara?
It was my preparation, Sandy. I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It...
Well, you tell me sometime.
Oh, of course. Privately. It's just, you know.
That's all right. To come back to this business about being happy. It's a pain in the neck. It tenses you up. You're afraid to stop, or it'll drain away. You know, so trying to keep it going, you get tense. Mostly here. But that was well on its way. Preparation is a daydream. It is wishful thinking. Call it what you like. It is a device of the imagination which stimulates in you what you're looking for emotionally.
There's a study out that says that by the time a baby is 3 years old, they have heard the word no 20,000 times. 20,000 times, can you imagine that? And at that point, they stop believing in who they are. They stop listening to their own sense of truth. And it comes from mom and dad, and they're the authority figures. Now you multiply that by school, you have to conform to fit into those rules. Religion, I'm not saying religion's bad, but there's a lot of dogma in religion that you have to follow. Relationships, by the time somebody gets to be 18 or 20, they don't know who they are anymore. They're so used to listening to what they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to fit in, and they've quit listening to themselves. So this work is all about unraveling that and getting back to the instinctual person of you. We believe that your instincts are 100% right. They're there for self-preservation. So how can they be wrong? So when you listen to the heart and you listen to your truth, your inner truth, you're on the ground, you're solid, nobody can knock you over. But when you listen to society, that's somebody else's idea. So you're not grounded, and you can be knocked over very easily.
You can't be a lady or a gentleman. It applies to girls. You cannot be a lady and be an actress. Because what does that imply? It implies that the non-acceptable social emotions have to be hidden. No. I must not be or show unladylike characteristics. Nature doesn't work that way.
Society is man-made. Somebody made up a bunch of rules that said, I will subdue or repress who I am and how I feel for the betterment of the group so that we can all survive. And perhaps we need those rules to live in a city. We have a city of 12 million people here. We need some rules, and I need to subdue some of myself so that everybody gets the benefit. But in art, it's complete and utter death.
The thing that's got to hit you emotionally, and out of that comes your response. I could explain to you the character of Mrs. Oswald in Ghost until you're exhausted and I'm exhausted. And it won't help you because it doesn't touch your experience.
I wondered, Sandy, if you still, this is after the preparation of a scene, if you still teach and help those actions that you did when I was in school, you would say to do, this particular beat, it has a certain action, and this one will have another one if you put them together correctly. And breaking down the script into beats, into this action here and this action here. I mean, the underlying action. Or if you have to get mad or something, just go.
Make yourself do something.
Well, then you look mad if you do that. I mean, you feel mad. But
why not?
Do you still teach the students to write those things down in the margin? No more, huh? I found it so valuable when I was stuck. Maybe, why? Is it wrong?
It's not right. It's not wrong.
You don't teach
It's whatever helps you emotionally.
You said many years ago when I was in school, you said, okay, a few years ago when I was in school, you said to fantasize the rest of our, you didn't use that word, you said do preparations just for fun every day at home for the rest of your life. And I've done that. Sometimes it gets to be a killer, and then sometimes it's wonderfully funny. But that I found too, when you said that, I thought, oh gee, how can anybody go do a daydream or a fantasy every single day? I thought I would never be able to do it, but I found it easier and easier and easier to do.
You know something?
And more fun.
If you're really an actor, as you are, you never stop daydreaming.
No.
Right. See?
Yeah. You said you shouldn't share with anyone what your preparation is.
Of course not.
It's too personal.
Much too personal. You know, I don't like to talk about preparation because it's too complicated for the not talented and comes rather easily for the talented.
I studied with Stella. I was at the Actors Studio 2 weeks after Lee Strasberg died for a year. I studied with Bobby Lewis. I watched Uta Hagen work for years. I studied with Herbert Bergasso. I studied with all of them, the best. But Sandy's system is the only one out of all of them that has a systematic approach from day one all the way up through what I would consider college that gets people who don't have that raw talent that we're talking about of Marlon Brando to the same place that Marlon got naturally, literally.
Just because I don't come to life with any one particular activity, I shouldn't have just attacked myself, not saying, well, I'm not a good actor because I can't get this. It's probably because I didn't set it up right. And I've learned that so much, probably 99% of it, is the homework that has to go into setting up the exercise and the activity. And if I set it up right and just simply do it, after that, it will just happen for me.
The state of the technique today is that we're becoming the main technique. You're seeing a lot less method classes. You're seeing a lot less Stanislavski because it takes too long. You know, I always said Sandy's work is nuts and bolts.
There is no such thing as grammar, punctuation in acting. See, no commas, I don't know it myself. No commas, what else? Exclamation, periods, and so on. Because the whole thing works on your natural impulses. See, did you know that there was no punctuation in Shakespeare? The academicians put it in. They didn't write it with periods and commas. If you looked at the first folio, you'd see that. It's when the colleges got their hot hands on them. If you say to somebody, drop dead, you don't need any punctuation.
The secret of the stars, gravitation. The secret of the earth, layers of rock. The secret of the soil, to receive seed. The secret of the seed, the germ. The secret of man, the sower. The secret of woman, the soil. My secret? Under a mound that you shall never find.
The worst possible thing that I can say to you is that it's got to be made in person. And in order to do that, it means, in its simplest way, to find a way of doing it. Right?
Yeah.
about the North?
The secret of the stars? Gravitation. The secret of the earth? Layers of rock. The secret of the soil? To receive seed. The secret of the seed? The germ. The secret of man? The sower. The secret of woman. The soil. My secret? Under a mound that you shall never find.
Now, let's examine what we did. Because it was more interesting. You know?
Yeah.
What made it more interesting?
Having a specific intention, the teasing, an attitude made it more
A way of doing it.
A way of doing it, yes.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's not merely nice to be interesting. It's a theatrical necessity. Another thing is, what you do doesn't depend upon you. It depends on what the other fella does.
When I read this, I really had no idea what to do with it.
Isn't the whole rehearsal process working out your character idea?
Yes. Yes. You're a good actor.
If you stuff making a living that way.